Steven here, your DS for Hudson Hustle. This route is undulating from the start to the finish. We never want to start the climbs in the wind, and the micro efforts are far more important than hero pulls. Central Park starts south, heading towards the lap banner, today's finish line. Note the steep -9% descent. This will be your uphill sprint finish later on. In normal races, this banner would give you your first power-up. In Zwift Games, however, you only have one power-up, the feather, for the entire race. Your goal should be carrying that feather to this point for your sprint finish. Importantly, if you're being dropped, use your feather as well. The early 7% kick may stretch the group, but it certainly won't split. There's also a 4% rise just before the cobbled bridge, another section to carry your momentum. This whole area is not a selection point yet, just important for your positioning. Once we take another right and head towards Harlem Hill, that's when the race begins. These next 4 kilometers are the most dangerous part of the entire race. The first undulation that you hit is quite modest. It's around 3%, touches 5, and strong riders will use this opportunity to stretch the bunch. Just as before, this area is not steep enough to split the group, but it will stretch. The false flat that follows will indeed keep the pressure on and sting your legs. Diesel engines will do their best to grind riders into submission. Before you hit the next steeper ramp, move into the front third of the group. This ramp then has a 2-part rise. Part 1, around 5%, Part 2, a sharp 10% kick. Watch as a rider launches through the group at over 11 watts per kilogram and cruises through that 10% elevation. A move like that is cool, but it's a waste of energy. That's the hero move we want to avoid. A more efficient move is to use around 80% of your sprint power for just a few sections, just as the group momentum slows before the steepest bit. You'll then glide forward without detonating. As you crest this first undulation, the first real recovery window of today's race appears. Positioning ahead of time is important because if you're not with the front group over the top of this climb, you'll need to work to get back on. It's very important to rest here and not chase. Undulation number 2 will hit shortly after this. A sharp 7% rise will only last about 15 to 20 seconds. Just as before, this favors the riders in the draft, not the riders in the front hitting the wind. After another descent, positioning becomes even more crucial for the third undulation. We're now approaching the most important section of this race. Carry your momentum into this from the back, punch with your micro effort just before the gradient increases. The road will shift from 3 to 8%, and your timing matters more than raw power. The final 3/4 of this kick, gradients will ease before briefly punching again to 6%. Whatever you do, do not crest this climb off the front. The longest climb of the day is just ahead, and the road will dip sharply before this intense effort. This is the time to slingshot through the group, and you can only do that from behind. Time this effort so you hit the left turn with speed. Erik's position is just about perfect and could even be further back to take advantage of this momentum. Being that this steep turn is new to Zwift racing, because this is a new route, we're going to pivot to different footage of this very climb. These first few frames show that left-hander that you want to use momentum around. These glass roads are the longest climb of the day and the selection point of today's race. We're looking at a sustained 5 to 6% incline. Your goal, stay with the front group. Stringing out is okay, but gaps will end your race. If you need to, use a power-up to stay attached. Maintain your confidence. The crest of this climb will flatten before dropping down. Be smart and stay on the pedals until you're on the -7% gradients. Gaps are deadly. Stringing out is fine, separation is not. Watch how the flyer gaps ahead begin to disappear as the road slowly picks back up. Undulations like this are the enemy of the flyer. Small groups working together have a chance to hold off a fighting peloton, but it'll be quite difficult. We'll then approach one final sting of an 11% kick before true recovery begins. You must stay motivated. The sting of hitting these max gradients will not nearly be as bad as losing a wheel just before a true recovery point begins. I implore you, stay motivated. The road quickly flattens as you crest the peak. Within this first part of the recovery section, riders might push, but riders in the rear of the group will be completely safe. Those riders in the rear will also benefit from another undulation just ahead. Watch as I give the slightest push of watch before the rope kicks. That small effort is enough to keep me in position. From here, the race will transition towards Times Square. Using this time to conserve your energy is crucial. The subway sections might stretch the group, especially near the descent, but very rarely will they actually cause splits. We're already in a selective group of strong riders. When you're exiting the subway, Zwift will give riders a subtle power boost on the up ramps. These are not attack zones, but a time to conserve. You may have to put down some pressure, but you want to come off as soon as you possibly can. Making our way through the center of Times Square, there's a banner. If you're not in Zwift Games, you'll gain a power up. If you're feeling nervous at this point, don't. Maintain your confidence. This entire circuit is extremely draftable. You've already worked through the hardest roads. The first two left-handers of this segment will show a red block of elevation gain, maxing out at 4.1%. The gradient is then reduced as you work your way towards the right, and then entering a flat section. Within this flat portion, you may have to push on the pedals just as I do if you're losing position. Your race won't be over, but you'll have to work hard. Also notice, the group is not braking, it's just stretching. The third kick is the longest and most important. After it, the course flattens and descends. If you're positioned well in the front of the group, come off the pedals. If you're gapped, it's difficult to close, but not impossible. My positioning is risky, but there's still an opportunity to catch. The course winds to the left, and a false flat of 1% will slow things down just enough for the riders off the back to shift up towards the front. That is, as long as nobody's hammering away at the front. This incline is short-lived. Riders will move under it, through another building, and two true -4% recovery zones will appear. If you've made it this far, the hardest part is over. You'll now double back through the subway towards Central Park. Group momentum will be high as you work through the subway. Mind your positioning, but don't panic. Stretching is likely, breaking of elastic is not. When exiting the subway, remember the boost, work as little as possible. Ride in the rear of the bunch, just as I am, and prepare for a very animated final few kilometers. Familiar sights of undulations are ahead as we approach the New York Sprint Reverse. Non-Zwift game events will offer a power-up here. If you're a long-range specialist, this one's for you. A well-timed attack will carry you through this sprint banner and give you a nice gap towards the finish line. It won't be easy to hold off the charging peloton. Group momentum will work extremely well through the -6% gradients after the crest, and there's another drop of elevation after the cobble bridge. This is an opportunity for the peloton to work together to catch those flyers. That final left-hander is another -6% gradient. What I'll now show you are a few clips of riders moving through this final sprint segment. These are not sprints. What I want you to notice is how the group in the back pushes towards the front. This is important for planning the final push. You want to work from the back towards the front. Attacking too early is a mistake. Gravity and group momentum will punish you. Carry your speed through the slight 2% drag before the banner, stay in the front third, and use your feather if you have it. My impatient sprint has me getting caught at the line by 3 riders. Adam, who's more patient, has much more success. Patience wins Hudson Hustle, not raw power.